Okay, this should be good now. Hi, I'm Jane Frizzell, and this is Basic Military Riding Program Office Hours. It's 3 o'clock every Wednesdays, and there is no caller today, and no questions were submitted. But I was thinking and did glean from some discussions that what I'm going to talk about today for a few minutes is what instructors should be teaching to beginners. And I'm sad to report that many professionals and advanced riders cannot do what is in this list of things that a beginner should become deft with, be able to manage and do. And there's simple things that are easy to overlook, but their importance as the training progresses can't be underestimated. Simple things like managing tack and preparing a horse properly, that's kind of going okay, I think, in the horse world at large. But where there are big gaps or substitute education for what people really need to know is in areas like arena commands, ride halt, half turn change back to the track, change direction, half circle back to the track, change direction. Just like simple things. The diagonals are after a short side. The riders these days literally don't know their way around. And in the olden days, or when I was coming up, there weren't private lessons for children. Children rode in groups, and that taught us spacing, speed control, planning. The ponies would run up on each other's rumps, and some of the ponies bit, so they had to wear embarrassing little baskets. I didn't want to ride ponies that had to wear baskets, so I made sure I learned how to maintain correct distance. And then I was advanced to the ponies that didn't have to be basketed like Hannibal Lecter. But these things aren't part of the curriculum and the development of riders these days. And so then if they get in a situation like a hectic warm-up, for example, they're lost. And these normal things for beginner riders to learn, I know because I've talked to people, they are also absent in Europe, but I think they're less absent. I think maybe they're not going into this new generation, but I think that there was a more competence. I think the competence endured longer in Europe than it did in America. Okay, here's some other things. Feet out of the stirrups, cross your stirrups. Posting trot without stirrups. 2-point. People don't even know 2-point. Everyone should know 2-point. Everyone should know normal sitting position, 2-point. Normal sitting position, 2-point. And when they're very new, go through the hell of having no stirrups and doing those things. And with stirrups. Shorten your feet out of the stirrups, find your stirrups without looking down. Feet out of the stirrups, find your stirrups. 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 Lengthen your rein, shorten your rein. Lengthen both reins, shorten your right rein. Lengthen your right rein, shorten your left rein. Blah, blah, blah. Back and forth. Constant drilling. Da, 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 da. Shorten your rein. Blah, blah, blah. Short. And the ways to shorten the rein. There's the. I'll put a link in the description if I remember. I made a video on it a long time ago. I think it might have been the first teaching video I ever meant because I was given the instruction that my first video should be the most simple one of all. Hello. So I made the most simple one of all. I made one video, two videos the first day I ever made a video based on these instructions from an elder. Make videos on the most simple things. So I made videos on the things that I remembered from when I was 7.5 in second grade. And these are the things that riders don't know. My colleagues haven't taught it to their people because I've been teaching some of them and they don't know it. Anyway, I did make a video on finding your stirrups and shortening your reins. And there's two ways to shorten. You can do the pull through shortening reins. That's more in an emergency, or if you're like on the fly and you need both reins. But there's also, where's my other hand? Oh, these are reversed. So my hands are here. I shorten this rein. Shorten this rein. I shorten this rein. I shorten this rein. I shorten this rein. I shorten this. Short, 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 short. Now my reins are short, but my hand never pulled backward or lifted or and I don't think I'm even really going to get into the aberrations. Like, I mean, I'm surrounded by horses here and at WEC and everything, and the everyone widen and lift this whole thing and then adjust their reins and then try to find your position. No, find your position, then shorten your reins, but you have to be good at shortening your reins. And I became good at shortening my reins probably by fourth grade, because that's when I was allowed to go to the big girl arenas, which were down a little road. But that's the way my mind thought. I thought, oh my God, I don't want to be riding around in 2-point with my legs trembling from pain and effort in the freezing cold with like snot frozen onto my skin. I want to be able to go down to the big girl arenas and hold both my reins. So I made myself follow the very boring and non-fun exercises at my riding lessons. We did not do fun things. I do not remember one time any of them being like enthusiastically encouraging. Oh, good girl, Jane, you're a wonderful little rider. I don't remember one event like that. I remember don't cut your corner. Um, that's what I remember. Now, I'm not saying you have to be rough with novices, but there's a distinction between giving an entertaining recreational riding experience and teaching someone to ride. And if someone is going to learn to ride, they need to handle the most basic equipment. They need to know what to do if they lose their stirrup. They need to know how to ride without them. And they need to know how to lengthen and shorten reins on command as needed instantly without saying this is hard. This is very short. I'm going to try to remember some other things. Keeping distances, we had to do that. One thing that was pretty hard is we would have to be in a single file line, like 8, like a maybe even 10, like pretty large groups and very little kids. There was one horse called So-So that had to be 17.3, huge old jumper horse. And I know I rode So-So frequently in second grade. I was a pipsqueak. And like my knee, like my feet didn't even get to the bottom of the saddle. But still I had to do 2-point. So anyway, we would be single file around the edge. This isn't right at the beginning. This is after we could do some things. All trotting, you had to keep the exact proper distance, and then the lead horse would canter to the end of the line. And that could be a pretty long time if the whole ride is trotting. And then that horse, they would stop, and then the next horse would go. But I think the other thing is that the tests, like that's kind of a test of skill, that you don't cause a crash and that you're able to keep the right distance and spacing and speed control of the horses and ponies that are going around all different sizes. But this was when we were very little, very little. And in the same lesson as So-So, the 17 3-hand would be Boomerang, who must have been 12-2 at the most. Maybe small. I mean, he was little. But if you were on Boom, you had to make him not lose space behind Biscuit and So-So and blah, 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 and Hercules and da, 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 down the line. There was more, it was like task oriented, do this, and practice. It was often the same thing every Wednesday and Saturday, and it wasn't very entertaining. And it didn't go as quickly as I wanted it to go because I wanted to be going down the lane where the jumps were. And there were certain things that we had to do, and you had to do, I think you had to do figure eights in the trot, no stirrups, or maybe figure eight in the trot, no stirrups, 2-point before you were allowed to try a cross rail. I think that's what it was. So that's kind of hard. And there are a lot of these DQ babes. They couldn't do that. I mean, now. Or even the jumper people. Something's got to, the standards got to come up. It's got to come up early. And that means the instructors with the little ones, it's not like, oh, thank you for, not crying. It's feet out of the stirrups, rising trot. Don't cut the corners.